proper, hearty, delicious meals. And this one is a great British classic, cottage pie. But this pie is busting with caramelised root veg, rich gravy and fluffy mash, making it so full of flavour you'll never look back. I want a nice large casserole pan on a medium heat. So add yourself a couple of tablespoons of nice olive oil and then some rosemary. 3 sprigs is all you want. Now we're going to do 2 things. The first thing is we're going to flavour that oil. Secondly, we're going to make these soft woody herbs crispy and snappy and delicious, and we'll sprinkle them over the finished cottage pie, and it will make a difference that will blow your mind. So that's the beginning. Now, the veggies. Humble leeks, carrots, celeriac, which many people have never eaten before, and swede. So just hack up all of this veg into like 2-centimetre chunks. I don't want to peel any of this veg. The flavour really is in the skin. Get that in there. We'll then go in with half a swede. Just take the end off and just carefully cut it in half. And the skin, again, if it's nice and clean, doesn't need to be peeled. Just hack it up into like 2-centimetre chunks. It has an amazing, sweet, delicious flavour. Loads of people don't buy or eat swede. It's such a great vegetable. It adds so much to a nice chilli or a ragu. And in this form, cottage pie, it's going to be amazing. People will love it. And then half a celeriac. Now, the celeriac has deep, hearty flavours, especially if you roast it or cook it in this way, in flavoured oil. It's got a kind of celery flavour, it's a bit mushroomy, and so many people have never, ever tried it. What's really nice is as these veggies colour up, the smell of rosemary is all the way through it. Wonderful. Last veggie, we've got these beautiful leeks. Still, loads of people don't really buy leeks that often. So where you would use onion, you know, feel free to swap in leeks. And it's a different flavour, but very similar. So I'm literally just going to hack these up again, 2-centimetre chunks. What I naturally tend to do is as I go from the white part, which is very silky, sweet and gorgeous, to the green part, which I get to now, then I might start to finely slice this, because where it's greener, it's more fibrous. In now with the leeks. Look at that. And you get some amazing sweetness from this. That will cook down in a matter of minutes. What's really brilliant is each one of these veggies tastes very different, and as we cook them, they just get more intense and more delicious. A little seasoning of sea salt and black pepper. Now, in the wonderful world of making veggies taste incredible, there's a few little tricks. And one of them is cumin. Just a little pinch of cumin seed. Give a savouriness, a meatiness, a depth of flavour that's phenomenal. Just little subtle hints really transform things. And it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. And here's the thing, right? When you're clever about how you cook these veggies, just like you would meat, right? When you respect it, you can get comforting, big, deep, sort of sumptuous flavours that you're going to love. Then potatoes. So I've got some water boiling. Let's get myself about 2 kilos of potatoes. I'm going to wash these and I'm going to peel these. So you'll end up with about 1.6 kilos of potatoes probably. So I've got some lovely Maris pipers. Let's give them a nice little wash. You could leave the skin in and make it even more nutritious, but I like fluffy white mashed potatoes in this little story. We've got enough goodness happening in there already. Homemade mashed potato, absolutely delicious. Let's just clank them up into quarters. What I love about dishes like this is you can make this the day before, 2 days before, pop it in the fridge, and then, you know, bang it in the oven. It's just that kind of food that makes people happy. So in with the spuds we go, 15 minutes. So look, there was a massive pile of veggies here. It's reduced and cooked down by at least half. So now we need to start thinking about getting some wet stuff in here and getting stewing. I want to talk gravy, lovely people. Kettle, boiling water, liquidizer. Pour in about 600 mils. And then to go in that boiling water, I'm going to go with some dried mushrooms. And you're going to get incredible flavour. Honestly, I'm using porcini. About 10 grams is all you need. Of course, when you dry things like mushrooms, the depth of flavour you're going to get is amazing. Now, we want to add to this. So first up, we're going to use, one red onion. I'm just going to peel it and just cut it into some chunks. So that goes in. And then a little bit of Marmite or Vegemite will make all the difference. Just a little teaspoon will add savouriness and seasoning. And this is a really nice trick. And then 3 tablespoons of tomato puree.
Give it a whiz. But the best bit of this gravy is already in the pan.
We've got sticky bits galore on the bottom. That's caramelisation. And the minute this hits the pan, it will start deglazing the sticky bits. That's going to really give it flavour and make incredible gravy. Now, I'm going to add my final ingredient, lentils. I'm going to go in with the juice and all. And the brilliant thing about lentils is they will cook away to nothing. They'll thicken it slightly to make it wonderfully meaty. So that needs about sort of 20 minutes now just to tick away and get even richer and more gorgeous. I'm going to do one thing before I drain these potatoes, which are definitely cooked. I'm going to take a little of this starchy water. Even though this is a perfect consistency now, it won't be in 20 minutes. So I'm going to make it just a little bit wetter, and it will just help it tick away nicely. And we want that kind of consistency of gravy, so when we put the topping on, it's just beautiful.
As it simmers away, keep an eye on the veg and add a little more water if needed.
So I'm going to drain this and let it steam.
Steaming dry the spuds makes a lighter, fluffier mashed potato topping for this pie.
So we're in that beautiful place where we're going to mash our spuds. I want to get a nice knob of butter and then in with some basic seasoning, a little bit of black pepper, and we'll have a little mash up. I mean, look at that. By letting those potatoes steam dry, can you see how incredibly light and fluffy these are? That is going to be the most fantastic mashed potato. So I'm just going to add a little milk just to make it really nice and silky. So a little swig or two. Just enough to loosen it. So just use a fork to let it rain random chunks of spuds. You could pipe it and make it look all flash. Use a palette knife and kind of get it all smart. I just quite like the natural way that it falls. But each to his own. You wait, this is going to be good.
Whack in the oven for 30 minutes at 190 degrees Celsius or 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And that mega gravy will turn this meat-free cottage pie into a deep, hearty dinner.
Look at that. That, my friends, is a beautiful thing. And don't forget, we had these little crispy bits of rosemary. Proper delicious food. Absolutely blooming gorgeous, come on. And really nice served with some greens. Right, let's have a go. So, that is extraordinarily delicious. Wow, no compromise there. By giving the same respect to the veggies as you would a cut of meat. It's given us the most beautiful flavour. And that little cheat on the gravy to take all the sticky bits off the bottom. An absolute classic, but with loads of the good stuff. I challenge you to make this and not love it.
This chili is chock-a-block with flavour, texture and excitement. Yet it's simple to make and packed with goodness.
I'm going to use like cooking methods to drag out every last bit of flavour into this dish. No compromises at all. So it starts over here, and I've got tomatoes and peppers. I've got sweet potatoes. I've got onions. There's so much veg in this dish. 4 or 5 fruit and veg a day in one meal. So look, first up, we're going to take just a little wedge of each veg. And this is going to make the most amazing sort of vibrant salsa later on. Cooked and raw. Sweet and soft, crunch. So it's going to be really, really exciting. So onion goes here, one of the tomatoes, and just forget about that for a minute. So let's get on with our peppers. I just want to pull out the seeds and then use our griddle pan to char up these veggies. Tear these peppers into like 4 centimetre chunks. Peppers are amazing. More vitamin C than most veggies. Beautiful, sweet and delicious. And then we have the 2 sweet potatoes. Just cut them into like 4 centimetre chunks. They're sweet, but when you cook these on a grill, you're gonna get that really smoky flavour. 2 red onions, also into 4 centimetre chunks. And then look, in here, it's crackling, gives that smokiness. That's what I want from a good chilli. And I want this to be one of the best chilies you've had before, period, right? So no compromise on flavour. I absolutely love this recipe. It's this kind of 2-tiered way of cooking where you're kind of getting this shimmer of heat. You know, you're getting the char, the blistering, the smokiness. It's really amazing. Then we go into here where we start doing the layers of flavour and the sweetness and the kind of stodge and comfort food. This is a meal with no compromise. So let's crack on with the flavour. In the pan, we're going to go in with a tablespoon of olive oil. And then we want to add to that. So we've got 2 spices that I'm bringing to the fray. We're going to use some cumin, whole cumin, which I'm just going to add a teaspoon straight into the oil like that. Get it toasting. Bring out the flavour. Beautiful. Then I'm going to use this, smoked paprika. A teaspoon of this is going to bring a whole world of savouriness and smoke and depth of flavour. And the minute it hits the oil, it changes the colour. So this is the welcoming party to our little friends here, Mr. and Mrs. Pepper. And this is what I love about this recipe. The rhythm is fantastic. As we take one out, we put another one in. And each time there's a batch of veggies done, we'll put it into the stew pot. And then I'm going to use the zest of 1 lemon. This zest is going to go into the pan. It's full of natural oils and incredible flavours. When it hits the fat, it goes sweet and amazing, gives it layer upon layer of flavour. Now, garlic, just take off the end, give it a little squash, take the skin off and finely slice. What I love about garlic is it has this brilliant ability to start linking all the flavours. Look at that. Look at the colours. It's just smelling incredible. Absolutely incredible. At this point, we can go in with the sweet potatoes and the onions. So at this stage of the story, we're on to the tomatoes. And these are fresh tomatoes as opposed to tinned. But again, we can still get flavour by grilling these fellas. So just cut the tomatoes in half and grill those. For me, this is the most important part of the chilli, the grilling and the caramelising in that oil and the smoked paprika and spice and garlic. It really earns you all the flavour when it comes to sort of uncompromised deliciousness. You know, being bothered to sort of grill the veggies like this is amazing. Even the tomatoes, can you see that one grilled side? You know, it gives you extra flavour. I'm going to use a tin of cannellini beans, the whole lot. So you can hear you're going from frying to simmering. And then you want to add 1.5 tins of water, a little salt, a little pepper, and then some chilli sauce. Just a tablespoon to give it that hum of heat. Lid on top, simmer for 30 minutes. And then what I want to do now is cook the rice. Now, of course, you could use regular white rice, no trouble at all. But I want to use a rice that's a bit different. I want to use a black rice. You can get it in the supermarkets. It is more nutritious than your regular white rice. It's got more fibre. It's absolutely delicious. 250 grams goes in, cover it with water, and just boil that up.
As that ticks away, it's time to create a fresh and crunchy relish.
Let's make a beautiful salsa. So first up, the sweet potato. Can you eat sweet potato raw? Yes, yes you can. It's got a nuttiness to it, as well as the sweetness, which is really, really beautiful. So I'm simply gonna rack these up, finely slice the sweet potato like this, and chop it through. The finer, the better. And straight into a bowl, like that.
Then peppers, tomato,
All of the vegetables represented in the chili is going to be in the salsa.
onion, and add zing with lemon juice and chopped mint.
What I like to do is just pick some of the finer leaves, like this, just the small ones, and put those aside. That'll be part of the garnish. And then the bigger leaves, that's what we're going to finally chop and put through the salsa. And it really makes a massive difference. What we want a salsa to be is a slap round the face of flavour.
For cool contrast, ripple chili sauce into 4 tablespoons of natural yogurt.
It's like fire and relief all in one.
And finally, heat some tortillas on a hob.
20 seconds is all you need, just enough to warm it up, and there you go. Let's plate it up. This black rice, it's so good. And the flavour is really moorish and sweet. The chili, tear through some mint, just a little bit of green popping through. It's gonna be gorgeous. Go in with a big old spoon of our chili and take a little tortilla, fold it in quarters. Let's hit it up with the salsa, colour, crunch. Then we're gonna go in with that refreshing yogurt and chili, and then just pick over some mint leaves. Wow. Come on. Time to eat. Serious flavour going on. And the rice is just unbelievable. It is like nothing you've tried before. It's full of the good stuff. No compromise, guys. I promise you, this is something that's just gonna make you feel so happy. It's so tasty. This is a clever one because it's really fun to make. The techniques are amplifying flavour, but there's big chunks of veg in there. 4 of your 5 fruit and veg a day in one dish. But layer upon layer of flavour. Give it a try. Delicious. And I've got a cracker for you. This is a roasted black bean burger.
The juicy patty is packed full of veggies and spices, and it's topped with an amazing salsa, mango and avocado.
We're going to start with a patty. It is so simple. Anyone can do this. So get yourself a food processor. First up, mushrooms. Now, guys, the wonderful world of mushrooms is not a boring place. This is a place that is full of flavour, texture. So look at these. Shiitake there, really good value. Pierre de Mouton here. Look at that, fantastic. Different colour, different textures. Little chanterelles, just beautiful form. So look, make your patties out of whatever you can get. It's all good. So 200 grams of mushrooms go in here. And next ingredient is the onion. I want sweetness and flavour, so I'm going for red onion. And then we need some spice. And there's a great spice that's going to work so well with this, and that's ground coriander seeds. You can get it everywhere. So a teaspoon of that goes into the mixer. And then we need to kind of bind the patty mix, right? And I'm going to do that with some rye bread. It's full of flavour. But if you look in there, right, you can see it's a kind of mixture of different grains. You've got nuts, you've got seeds, and complexity. So, lid on top and a little pulse. Have a look at that. It's quite fine. It already smells pretty good. But to complete this amazing little burger, we need a bean. And we're going to use black bean, one of the highest in protein, one of the highest in fibre. In they go. You don't want it super pureed. You want chunks of the bean in there. And I'm going to roast these beautiful patties. So in we go with olive oil. And because we're roasting it, we're also going to get crispy bottoms and crispy tops. You can just lightly season the tray with salt and pepper and the coriander powder as well. So it's a nice little trick there. Now with this mix, I want to divide this into 4. Just form it into a little ball, so simple, and then just push it out into a normal burger size. So you can see how we got chunks of bean in there as well. Then straight onto the tray, like that. Happy days. Beautiful little patty. Couldn't be simpler. 25 minutes in an oven, preheated to 200 degrees Celsius, which is 400 Fahrenheit. As these cook, I want to make an amazing salsa. So for me, this is the opportunity to really pimp this ride. It's really take the flavour, the colour, the nutrition up a notch and surprise people. This is what's going to slap your taste buds and work so well with the nice sort of frumpy, delicious flavours of the patty. If you can get beautifully ripe tomatoes, it's a game changer, right? So a nice handful of cherry tomatoes on the vine. They're really beautiful. Look at those. Rough, ready. There's juices coming out. These smell incredible. You know, that kind of greenhousey, ripe smell. I love those.
Right, let's build up the layers. With half a chopped red onion, the juice of a lime,
Come on!
and a good swig of chipotle chili sauce.
And that smokiness just kind of adds to the flavours. I am going to use a little bit of coriander. I don't want to waste any, so I'll use the leaves to finish it, and then the stalks for the salsa. And of course, if you don't like coriander, because there are some haters out there, mint, basil, parsley, fill your boots. Just finish that with some seasoning. That's going to be amazing, and it will get better and better. So let's have a little try. Oh, wow. That'll be so good with pretty much anything on the planet. Salsa done. Now, look, 2 other additions that bring such a lot of life and fun into this dish is avocado and mango. Get a knife, go into the stone, and just gently and carefully rotate around the stone. No pressure at all. Put it down, and then you can just twist it off, and happy days. Give it a little tap, and off it comes. Get yourself a big spoon, and you can get it out in one. Just hold it to the skin and just scoop it out, and you'll get a beautiful, all-in-one piece of avocado. Happy days, every single time. And then just run your knife through it. Just finely sliced. And people love an avocado, don't they? They go mad for avocados. The same goes for this, the mango. Now, inside there is a really awkward-shaped stone. Put your knife kind of in the middle, and then let it go down, and it will naturally hit the stone. Gently, without pressure, ease the knife out. Can you see how I'm easing it out? Then I'm going around the stone, and then kind of almost turn back. And what you end up with is a beautiful lobe. And there you go. And then cut the lobe into 3. And then simply put your knife between the skin and the mango, and you get a beautiful piece that comes out like that. Now, when it comes to the middle part, I literally just roll it like that. And this, my friends, is what you call a chef's treat. Really good. This is going to make or break it, right? So if the mangoes are rubbish, what else could I use? Peaches, pineapple, apple. There's no wrong, right? If it's acidic and delicious and got that balance of sweet and sour, then you are rocking and rolling. So once we've got the mango, simply slice it up, just like the avocado. Look at the colour. The colour should tell you everything. So this is such an easy way to get the good stuff in your body, to help you function, to help you flourish. Now, next up, I want to get some cheese for topping the patties. I'm going to use a lovely cheddar. Of course, you can get veggie cheddars, you can get vegan cheese, so you use whatever you want. Just have fun with it. So have a look at this. Look how dark and gnarly they are. But it's not trying to be meat, it's a beautiful black bean patty. We're going to put this back in the oven, so a couple of minutes.
And at the same time, toast up some bread buns for a nice crunch.
Sometimes the kids catch me watching the oven. They think I'm weird. And when that cheese starts to just ooze and bubble, then, my friends, we are ready to go. So this is when you get everyone around and you sort of say, like, tuck in, help yourself, guys, go and get amongst it. I'll show you how I like mine, because I like to get the full flavour of everything. Instead of mayo, nice yoghurt. The freshness works incredibly well. So a nice bit of salsa goes on top, then a few bits of mango, take a few bits of avocado, and then for the patty, load it up on top. You've got the nice melt of the cheese, but then we're going to hit it up with that salsa again. And that's it, my friends. That is a beautiful roasted black bean burger. And now, well, time to get stuck in. Crunchy, completely full of flavour. The patty has got that crispy outside and really nice soft inside. But with the salsa, it's phenomenal. Everything that you'd want from a really good burger. So next time you go to get a burger or grab a packet of mince, maybe, just maybe, you should grab a tin of black beans. It's delicious to eat, and I made a real mess, and I don't care.
This is my easy peasy scruffy aubergine lasagna with a gorgeous sweet tomato sauce topped with crispy sage leaves and almond crunch. Delicious.
So let's do this. One of the things that we do badly in the UK is cook this. I don't know why. Everyone in the Mediterranean is celebrating it, but I don't want it to be kind of like woolly and sort of spongy. I want it to be creamy and sort of substantial and pull in flavour. And I really think that this method you're going to love. So first up, we'll just nip off the ends like that. And then split in half. I want about 250 mils of water. Let's get it on a medium-high heat. And then I want 3 onions. You can break these little quarters up if you want. And the first part of this recipe is steaming. So water is coming to the boil, and we'll let that kind of simmer away nicely for about 20 minutes. And the steaming is going to make the onions and the aubergine soft and silky and delicious and ready to take on flavour. I want to get 6 cloves of garlic. You get a few big chunks in there, it doesn't matter. Then I want some lemon. I'm not going to use the juice, but what I will use is just the zest. Get one of those fine graters and just give it a little rub. And just the yellow part will come off. That's not bitter, it's just full of the natural oils, that incredible sort of citrus flavour. And then, when it comes to the world of chilies, you can get the beautiful chili flakes here, which are fantastic, and you can get them everywhere, or you can get the whole ones. Now, they're both good, but there is a benefit to using the whole ones, right? Because you can control the heat a little bit better. Let me explain why. So if you just take that chili and just crack it in half, get rid of these seeds, and that's like removing the excess heat. So then we can concentrate on the really fruity, cherry-like flavours. And then I want to get some herbage. Now, you could use so many different herbs. I want to use sage on this one. And sage, I think, is an incredible herb. And when you grow them, you can get different colours, shapes, sizes. So this is a purple sage. Really, really beautiful. Just get a nice little kind of wodge of that. And then here is your classic green sage. And when the sun hits these herbs, the flavours, the natural oils in here are just another level. So give them a nice little wash. And this is going to give the most incredible, fragrant, savoury flavour. Let's have a look at what's going on in here. So the onions and the aubergine have completely changed texture. They're soft. And as this excess water starts to sort of cook away, you can hear the sounds in the pan change. Right? You can hear it begin to sort of dry fry. Push all the veggies to one side. And then in the middle here, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And then we'll start adding the chili. You know, that beautiful background heat. We'll add the lemon zest. We'll add about half of this sage. And then we're going in with the garlic. You know, this is proper cooking and a proper homage to a vegetable that certainly in Britain is much under-loved. You know, cooking it like this is a game changer. As I push this around, there's sticky bits on the bottom that are like the concentrate. See that on the end of the spoon? It looks like rubbish, it looks like mess, but that is deep, deep, delicious flavour. I'm going to add in some great classics. We're going to put in 2 tins of beautiful tomatoes. Try and get plum tomatoes, right? Whenever you get the plum tomatoes, they're a better grade than the passata or the chopped ones, okay? So that's going to give you a premium quality product. But of course, if a lot of your dish is going to be tomatoes, then they may as well be the best ones you can get hold of. So crush those tomatoes through your hands, and then with these 2 tins here, let's fill these up with water, and we're going to get a double whammy here. Better for the old recycling, which is good, and also we need that water to stew that incredible filling for our lasagna. So in it goes. And in the next 20 minutes, while that simmers and blips away beautifully, all that caramelisation on the bottom will come off. and flavour that sauce. It will go darker and it will be absolutely incredible.
We're going to want some crunch with this, guys, so rub the remaining sage leaves with olive oil.
And then when that bakes on top of the lasagna, it makes the most incredible, almost like savoury crisp.
And I'm going to bash up 50 grams of almonds for even more texture.
You'll get some chunky bits, some powdery bits, and that sprinkled on the top of the lasagna. Oh, it's going to be amazing. Now, I haven't seasoned this yet, and it's a good reason for that because I'm going to use 2 cheeses for this. I'm using a cheddar and a beautiful Parmesan. You can get hard cheeses that are vegetarian in the Parmesan world. Cheddars, they're all over the place. Have a little look.
Whatever you use, 80 grams of each will do.
And once you've done that, Parmesan. And I love blending the cheese. You get that mixture of ooziness and stringiness and also that savoury, salty flavour. So let's turn the heat off now. If you have a look at the bottom, can you see how that's completely clean? So the flavour has now gone into the sauce. And now we can go in with that blend of Parmesan and cheddar, mix that through, and it should go oozy. That will be the bulk of the seasoning. So I'm going to use 300 grams of fresh lasagna sheets, and all I'm going to do is literally tear them up, right, into sort of odds and sods. And I'm not going to layer it up. I'm not going to get uptight and sort of do an architectural thing. I said it was scruffy, right? And it's going to be scruffy. So almonds on top. Last but not least, those oil rub sage leaves. In the oven it goes for 25 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius, which is 400 Fahrenheit. And what's going to happen in there is pure deliciousness.
No lasagna is complete without a gorgeous green salad.
It's so nice just to grow a few lettuces. You can still buy some, but it just adds to it. Squeeze of lemon juice, just simple. Tiny pinch of salt, a little olive oil. Beautiful. Let's have a look. Come on! Look at that. Beautiful. It's gone gnarly, it's blipping away, it smells absolutely incredible. Right, here we go. So get in there with a nice big wodge. Oh my Lord. It's amazing. I think it's a really fun alternative to your regular lasagna. Glass of wine, bit of salad, nice company, happy days. So the next dish we're going to do is a beautiful Jamaican-inspired dish that my mate Sharon taught me at work, and she's from Jamaica, and it's a brilliant pumpkin rice that's now one of my favourites.
We're going big on flavour, guys. Creamy coconut and pumpkin rice and a tongue-tingling butter bean stew.
We're doing pumpkin rice. In here, 800 millilitres of boiling water, and then add some coconut cream. Now, coconut cream is richer and more intense than coconut milk. And we want 100 grams. Bring that to the boil, and we'll start to scent that with beautiful things. The Scotch bonnet. And they are hot, but actually, they have the best flavour of all the chilies, in my opinion. They have fruity, apricot-y flavours that I just love. I want to add some more flavours, pimento or allspice. We just need 4 of these.
It's a wonderfully aromatic West Indian spice, like having cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg and pepper rolled into one.
And then I'm going to use a herb of choice, thyme. Some nice lemon thyme there. Here we go. So a nice wodge of thyme. I'll give it a little wash. And I want to use just half of this. So coconut cream, thyme, Scotch bonnets, allspice, these are classic flavours of Jamaica. And then the last thing I want to flavour it with is 4 spring onions. And Sharon was very specific about this. What we want to do is just give it a good bashing. Cut it in half and then get it straight in there. We are making pumpkin rice. You can use butternut squash. You can find a beautiful pumpkin. There's many different types out there. So I want 400 grams, which will be about a quarter of this little beauty. Look at that. Normally, a pumpkin or a squash is going to be amazing if this flesh here, the orange flesh, is really dense. If it looks watery or fibrous, it's normally not that great. So let's get this peeled up. So I'll simply take
the skin off and then remove the seeds. Then we need to chop this up. Just chunk up this pumpkin into little slices like that and then cut them into little 2-centimetre chunks. So the pumpkin goes in. This is starting to come up to the boil now. Look at the colour. One more veg, and that's pointed cabbage. Of course, you could use Savoy, white cabbage. You could even play around with some kales and stuff like that, but that's the pointed one. It's really dense, really fresh, and a fantastic carrier of flavours. So we want 400 grams, which is about half of one of these, and slice it up. And then get the cabbage straight in there. Now, seasoning, very important. We want half a teaspoon of sea salt and pepper. So now I want to let that cook for 10 minutes on a medium heat, just to cook the pumpkin beautifully. Then I'm going to add the rice. I'm using basmati rice. I'll wash that under some cold water. And you can see all the creamy starch coming off the rice. This has had 10 minutes now. So off with the lid, and then in I'll go with the rice. Be careful not to bash the Scotch bonnet. And look at that. That orange colour is coming out of the pumpkin, so it looks incredible. Right, lid on top. 12 minutes of cooking. Let the moisture absorb into it, then we'll switch it off and let it just steam for a little bit. And now we've got enough time to make a really simple but gorgeous bean stew that you're gonna love. So pan on a medium heat. I'm gonna grab myself an onion and a couple of garlic cloves. Let's finely slice the garlic. Some nice olive oil in a pan. Put my garlic on top. And I've got some lemon thyme here, which just adds a whole load of extra flavour. We'll get that onion just roughly chopped up. So cut it in 3. In with the onions. Then I'm going to get some tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, something nice and ripe, and cut them in half. So as soon as the garlic and onion start to soften nicely, then we go in with these tomatoes, and then give them a good shake. Next veggie, okra. 200 grams of these, and this is a classic vegetable of the Caribbean.
It's an extraordinary veggie that can be used a bit like green beans. If you haven't tried them before, give them a go.
So just slice the okra in half and then sprinkle these straight in. Come on! Salt and pepper, a lid on top, and we'll let that cook for about 7 or 8 minutes, just until everything's beautifully softened. Let's have a look over here with the rice. The Scotch bonnet here has done its job, so lid back on here. And then what we're going to do is take this apart and add this to the beautiful stew. So double use chilli. Carefully, remembering it's hot, take that chilli, cut it in half. Use a little teaspoon just to remove these seeds. And then we can remove the skin. And then what you can do is just chop this up. Add half first. That's a generous half though. In you go. Give it a nice little toss over. Let that cook for its last couple of minutes. Then, very importantly, let's clean down that board. And definitely wash your hands. So this is looking lovely. Now the last ingredient to go in here is butter beans. And the ones in the jars, if you can find them, are absolutely brilliant. You'll get these in good supermarkets, delis. I'm gonna go in with the butter beans. I think that's the biggest butter bean I've ever seen. Look at that. Gordon Bennett. What's so nice about butter beans is they really do take on flavour. Colour, taste, flavour, 2 things working in harmony. I'm going to put that little bit of extra chilli. Very, very hot. If someone wants to kind of take theirs a little bit hotter, then there you go. Scotch bonnet oil. Let's plate this up. Here's the amazing bean stew. It's absolutely smelling gorgeous. And then, of course, the rice. Out of the dark pan comes a little golden ray of sunlight. Look at that. Coconut cream, spring onions, the Scotch bonnet, the pumpkin. Together, what a pair. How good is this? Come on. I've even got a little extra bit of chili sauce. You have to try this because the taste and flavours are going to be so delicious.
Now, in this meal, it's got 4 of your fruit and veg in one hit. So actually, we're doing pretty blooming well. It's gluten-free, it's vegan. The question is, where to start? I say a bit of everything. That Scotch bonnet heat is a thing of joy. That pumpkin rice is bonkersly tasty, and that stew is so quick and easy. And of course, you could put different veggies in there. You could react to the seasons, a handful of peas, broad beans. You could have real fun with that. This is really, really good. You know, I love meat, but if I'm gonna eat more veg, I wanna do it in style. And this is the most stylish way to do it. If you wanna get a bit of sunshine in your life, then have a little go at this. What a joy. Need to cool down a little bit. Chili's quite hot. I know that loads of you guys want to get more veggies into your life, and this recipe is for you. We're going to make a pie.
My summer veg blanket pie is crammed full of the good stuff, packing in 5 portions of gorgeous veggies in one delicious dish.
First up, let's talk about portion. What is a portion of veg? So 80 grams is what it is. It's like a little handful. Let me show you what that looks like.
This pie serves 4 people, so I need 4 portions of 5 different veg, and keep any odds and ends to chuck in a soup another day.
So for the butternut squash, portion is a quarter of that. All right, so that's all you got to eat for a portion. Then your courgette, again, that's a portion. And with the courgettes, there's some brilliant colours out there. We've got beautiful cherry tomatoes, again, 80 grams. You've got your portion in, all full of wonderful different things that are so good for your body. We've got the leek here. So a portion is a quarter of that. When it comes to the new potatoes, that does not count as a vegetable, I'm afraid to say. They are a starchy carb. But when you rattle it up with some chickpeas...
Just half of this jar gives you 4 portions.
Look, there you go. That easy. 5 of your 5 fruit and veg a day in one dish. Let's get cooking. So pan goes on. We're only going to use 1 pan. It's a 1-pan dish. Love it already. One thing to wash up. We're going to go in with 4 cloves of garlic. Just take the ends off the garlic, give it a little slap, and remove the skin. I'm going to finely slice the garlic. This is the beginning of flavour. So I'm going to go in with a couple of tablespoons of olive oil, and then I'm going to add the garlic to get it sizzling. So we'll get that frying, and then I'm going to use some fennel seeds. It's one of my favourite spices at the moment. You can use them whole. A tablespoon goes in, and the flavour that this gives is just truly delicious. Very gentle, slightly aniseedy, and really, really nice, like little kind of bites of surprise. So as that starts to fry, I'm then going to start adding the veggies. Cut them into sort of 2-centimetre chunks. So we'll go in with the squash, the courgettes, the leek. Leeks are in the allium family, right? The onion family, and they're so delicious. They cook so sweet, and I think are really, really nice in this dish. And then in with the new potatoes, skin on. What I want to do now is put the lid on and let it steam a little bit. And that steaming for 15 minutes will allow you to access the natural sweetness in the veggies and make it taste really delicious.
Whilst that steams, I have a quick trick to get every drop of flavour out of the cherry tomatoes.
So I've just cut them in half, just like a salad, and I'll dress them just like a salad. Salt and pepper, and a couple of tablespoons of nice extra virgin olive oil, and a little swig of vinegar, like that. And that'll just make these really sing. It's going to pull out loads of the natural juices from the tomatoes, and that's going to go in this pie as well. It's going to taste fantastic. So the next part of this recipe is quite interesting. It's a preparation on yoghurt that's going to really add to this pie. So I've got some nice yoghurt, about 400 grams, and then I want a sieve, I want a bowl, and some kitchen paper, and just pour the yoghurt on top. And what we're kind of making is like a hung yoghurt, like a cream cheese, that's got a sour flavour, and it's really creamy. So you can see already the moisture has gone in to the paper, and if I very gently press it, you can see that a little pinch, gravity, and the paper is removing this water. So just let that sit. This has had about 15 minutes now, so give it a nice little toss up, and the steamy time has finished, right? You can see it's changed, it's sagging down, and you know, it's frying away nicely. I can add the chickpeas now, about half of this jar. 80 grams per person is going to be enough to take this pie up to 5 veg in one dish. They're so gorgeous. They're creamy, and they're a good source of protein, so it's a win, win, win. What I want to do now is accent the flavour in this dish. Right, I want to go to North Africa, Morocco. I want to pick up some of those vibes. So first up, these preserved lemons are everywhere across that region of North Africa. They sort of taste so surprising, like orange squashy, lemon sherbety, fragrant floral, and just a little of this chopped into couscous or a rice dish is truly phenomenal. So just finely chop it, and then we'll add that to our lovely veggies. You'd be amazed of the flavour that you'll get from this. And if you want, you can add a little bit of the juices from the jar. And then the harissa. Harissa is basically like a chili paste. Got heat, but it's gentle. So I want to add just a nice teaspoon of that to our veggies. Next, I'm using saffron, which is a beautiful flavour. What we want to do here is make a little infusion of flavour. So I'll get myself a measuring jug. I want 300 mils of boiling water. And then you need the tiniest little pinch, and the flavour and the colour is ridiculous. I'm also going to rehydrate a little handful, 50 grams of sour cherries. These little accents of flavour are going to really surprise people. And just let that sit for a couple of minutes. That's going to go in this pie and give it incredible flavour.
Once infused, add to the veg pan, along with those cherry tomatoes we dressed earlier.
Just take the tomatoes, but not the juice. You get left with that, and that is not waste. That is what we're going to use to put flavour into our phyllo pastry.
Lay out 6 sheets of shop-bought phyllo and paint on that gorgeous dressing that you extracted from the tomatoes.
We'll just literally brush this over the pastry. So you've got the tomato juices, the seasoning, the oil, that little bit of vinegar. Bring it all together like that, like a little rose petal. On the bottom, it'll absorb flavour. On the top, it'll just look incredible and go crisp, crisp, crisp.
Cover the top of the pie like a delicious phyllo blanket. Sprinkle with sesame seeds, then get it in the oven.
And that, my friends, is going to be an incredible pie. I cannot wait to show you.
Simply bake at 190 degrees Celsius, which is 375 Fahrenheit, for 25 minutes until golden.
Come on, look at that. It is so beautiful. Look at the textures. Look at the waves. That is definitely not a boring pie. Right, let's serve this up. What I love about the phyllo is the crunch that you get. Oh, look at that. Oh, yes. The smell is just phenomenal. Then, don't forget, we've got the hung yogurt. Get a little bit of that harissa oil just on top of there like that. And just serve that with a nice wodge. Right, come on, let's try some of this. Oh, that is insanely delicious. It feels like a real treat. I'm so pleased with that. Full of flavour. It feels indulgent, it feels naughty, and it's full of the good stuff. What an amazing way to celebrate 5 veg in one dish. Crunchy bits, veg galore, with the lemon, the harissa. If you're thinking about getting more veggies into your life, this is the way to go. Even if you're thinking, would I, could I, should I, get it in your mouth. I tell you what, you will not regret it.